James Comer now demands more information from other key officials in the Biden administration. This is information about the cover-up. The whistleblower from the IRS revealed that the DOJ, the IRS, and maybe even the Secret Service were involved in not allowing the full investigation to go forward to really charge Hunter or to even investigate the extensions outside of Hunter and how they connect to Joe Biden. Many IRS agents and FBI agents wanted it to move forward. We know David Weiss didn't actually have the authority that Merrick Garland and Joe Biden said he did. And so now the Oversight Committee and James Comer want to know more. And so 3 letters went out. We're going to go through all of them. One going to Kimberly Cheadle, Secretary, the head of the Secret Service. Another one went to Daniel Werfel, the head of the IRS. And of course, Merrick Garland got one as well. But the press release from James Comer says that they now seek over a dozen transcribed interviews, a dozen, related to agency misconduct in the Hunter Biden investigation. And so we know Merrick Garland very well. Attorney General of the United States came out to America, promised us all that David Weiss, the prosecutor in charge of investigating Hunter, had total authority to do whatever he wanted. Turns out that's not true. David Weiss told the investigative team he didn't. He tried to bring charges in California, declined, tried to bring charges in DC, declined, tried to get special counsel status, declined, told just to follow the process. So now Comer wants to know a little bit more. Coming out of the Congress of the United States, this letter sent over to the Honorable Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the Department of Justice. Comer says, Mayor, our committees are continuing to conduct oversight of programs and operations of the DOJ and the IRS. Recently, we got startling testimony from an IRS whistleblower, 2 of them actually, raising serious questions about the department's commitment to even-handed justice, so-called, and the veracity of assertions made by your department. In order to fully assess these things, we need the testimony. Testimony is required from several department and FBI investigation employees, and you can see the list of them coming up soon. We expect your full cooperation as we arrange these transcribed interviews. And we talk a lot about Biden Pandora's box. You open up the box and everything escapes and suddenly all the goods are out for everybody to see. This whistleblower, the 2 of them actually, have now cracked open the box. We got new names that came out. Other people in the room when David Weiss told them, actually, Merrick Garland's a liar. I don't have the authority he says I do. From recent testimony before the Ways and Means Committee, we've identified several department employees. The snowball is going down the mountain. It's going to be getting bigger and bigger from here. Department employees who we believe to possess information concerning allegations and the politicization and misconduct with respect to the investigation of Hunter. Specifically, the committees seek to examine whistleblower claims that the department and their investigation of Hunter was purposely slow-walked and subjected to improper political motivated interference. The committees must obtain the first-hand testimony of these people. And so DOJ and FBI, make these people available for us. And look at the names on the list. We like these names. Leslie Wolf, we talked a lot about her. She came up twice in the whistleblower testimony, both of them, said that she was specifically putting speed bumps at every turn. Maybe even allegedly, she tipped off Hunter Biden's lawyers before they were going to go and investigate a storage unit that he had a bunch of stuff in that was all removed very conveniently. Agents at the IRS and FBI were going to go overt, come out of the shadows and talk to Hunter, and they all got notified, and they were denied a lot of those requests until far after the election. We also have Jack Morgan, Mark Daley, Matthew Graves, the U.S. attorney who is over in D.C., the same guy who has his fingers all over the J6 cases. Of course, we want to talk to David Weiss, and there's other people from the FBI, Tom Sobocinski, and Raisha Hawley, FBI, along with these other people from the DOJ, Stuart Goldberg, Sean Weed, and Shannon Hansen. They want to talk to all of them. Oversight says, we anticipate we may require testimony from additional employees as this continues. We expect your cooperation moving forward. As you know, the Supreme Court recognizes we've got broad and indispensable power. This stuff is vital for carrying out our affairs. Please let us know when we can begin scheduling these transcribed interviews as soon as possible. Sincerely, your friends, Jim Jordan, Jason Smith, and James Comer. Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means. 3 different committees all firing off these letters. And that's only one of them. The IRS IRS also got a letter. This guy, Daniel Werfeld, the commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service, we can see he got delivered this one. It says, Dear Daniel, you know, we're investigating the IRS again, and we've got startling testimony and serious questions about what you've done at your agency. We now have identified several agency employees at the IRS that we believe possess info about Hunter, specifically claims that you slow walked this investigation. So accordingly, these are the two people that we want to hear from. Michael Batdorf from the IRS and Daryl J. Walden. And presumably these people were also on the investigative team. Presumably they're going to tell us the same things the whistleblowers have told us. We anticipate that we're going to need transcribed interviews. As you know, pursuant to the rules, we've got the authority to do this. Let us know when we can start scheduling these. Once again, your friends, Ways and Means, Oversight, and Judiciary. So that goes over to the IRS. And then lastly, we've got the Secret Service also gets a letter. And this is because we know that they were protecting Hunter. We've got different transcripts or different media stories showing that Hunter was traveling around with Daddy and the Secret Service was there with them. We know the Secret Service may have covered up for the gun charge. So they get another letter as well. Here's what the Secret Service got. Miss Kimberly Cheadle. They say, Dear Director Cheadle, you know, our committee is also investigating you in addition to the IRS and the DOJ. And we've got startling testimony that implicates your employees. And so we expect your full cooperation. From recent testimony, we know that specifically a whistleblower claims the following. On December 7, 2020, a whistleblower was informed that, quote, that FBI headquarters had notified Secret Service headquarters and the Biden transition team about the IRS criminal division's plan to interview Hunter. IRS is working with the FBI. FBI, the headquarters, goes up the chain of the command. They notify Secret Service, and then they also notify the transition team about their efforts. The whistleblower says, you know, this essentially tipped off a group of people very close to President Biden and Hunter, and it gave them an opportunity to obstruct their approach to the witness. Literally obstructing an investigation, all right? The FBI, maybe in cahoots with the Secret Service, obstructing the underlying agent's actual investigation to protect their boss. There is also evidence of the DOJ's investigation of Hunter being slow-walked for political purposes. So the committee must obtain the first-hand testimony from the Secret Service to address the seriousness of these allegations. So we ask that you initially make all Secret Service employees who received the December 7th, 2020 tip-off from the FBI and any Secret Service employees who may have passed this information along to the Biden family, we want to know who they are. They don't have any names. They're not going to get any names. I'm pretty certain of that. So we'll see what the Secret Service says. They say, we anticipate that we may require testimony from additional Secret Service employees. We've got authority under House rules. Let us know when we can start scheduling these interviews. Your friends, James Comer, Jason Smith, and Jim Jordan from the House GOP. So 3 letters went out. IRS, DOJ, and the Secret Service. And James Comer explains why this is necessary and some more details about this cover-up.
What did you think of Gary Shapley's interview last night with Brett Baer? He said he was very frustrated. His team was hindered. And he said, we're trying to investigate Hunter Biden. The DOJ prosecutors directed investigators to avoid asking questions about the big guy. We just heard in that report.
I mean, this is another example of the Department of Justice meddling to have a cover-up. This is a cover-up of public corruption at the highest levels.
Yeah.
And if you go back to when we brought the General Counsel for the National Archives in for a transcribed interview in the House Oversight Committee, they said the DOJ told them to stand down. We have FBI whistleblowers that Senator Grassley and I have worked with that said they were told to stand down on this investigation of Biden bribery. Now you have 2 very credible IRS whistleblowers who have said the same thing. They started finding those shell companies that we've disclosed in the House Oversight Committee, and I think they were on number 5 or number 6 out of 19, and they were told to stand down. So we have a situation here where our federal government has been involved in a cover-up. It's generated by the Department of Justice, and it continues with this Hunter Biden plea deal. I mean, this is a slap in the face of every American who works hard and pays taxes and believes in our system of justice. I mean, that's going to exceed $20 million. The way they set these up in these shell companies, these LLCs, they were deducting basic living expenses expenses as business write-offs when there was no business. There was no legitimate business. For example, Owasco was supposedly Hunter Biden's law firm account, but he didn't practice law. But that was an LLC for his law firm. That's where he wired money. There's suspicious activity reports where he wired to escort services. He paid his sex club dues in California, and he was paying for the pornography site, which is what triggered the IRS investigation to begin with. It was an audit not of Hunter Biden, but of a pornography site. So this was his law firm, supposedly, wiring all this money. He was writing that off as basic business expenses. You can't write those things off as business expenses. So they got all this money in, and they did not pay a penny of taxes on it.
Right. And
yeah, just to be ultra clear on this, sex club expenses, not legitimate for law firm purposes, just so we're clear.
that's what Mr. Shapley was talking about, tax evasion, especially
Right.
regarding Hunter Biden. You just mentioned.
No, I was there researching, Judge. No. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I research cases of assault. I was there learning about genitals.
9 members of the Biden family.
Right.
You've got bank records. It looks like they've taken in excess of $20 million from foreign sources. I heard you yesterday refer to them as a crime family, and this was organized crime. So make it easy for us. What was the crime?
Well, the crime is trading policy for money.
Which policy?
Well, we're going to get into that. I mean, look, Joe Biden has, on day one, he changed our energy policy in America that put China first and America last. He went in on day one and ended the China Initiative, which was an investigation at all our public universities of a very organized Chinese spy ring where China was sending students to universities to steal our research and development.
So you're saying because members of the Hunter Biden family and the extended Joe Biden family got money through various foreign entities, including things from China, that the president is compromised.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How's he compromised?
He's compromised because he's taken so much money from China. When you go in and you end the China Initiative, which every university president, even the most liberal university president, said is a problem. These Chinese students are coming over here. You go in a research lab in any university, whether it's in Kentucky or in an Ivy League school, and there are Chinese students in there. They ended that because they said that was racial profiling. That was discrimination. But the university presidents, even the most liberal ones, wanted that. They ended that. That's an example of a policy decision.
What else have you found? Because the panel has identified 6 policy decisions that indicate he may have been compromised.
We also think that he fired the prosecutor in
Ukraine.
He bragged about it.
He bragged about it. He's talked about it. That was beneficial to Burisma. That's what the bribe in the FBI Form 1023 was all about. They wanted to get Joe Biden to terminate that prosecutor because they were wanting to come to the United States and start an initial public offering, and they couldn't do it if they were under investigation in Ukraine.
Wow, amazing.
What did you think
and
of-
Joe got it done exactly for them as needed. And he's on tape saying that. So, you don't need all of these different deep connections, as we know. You don't even need audio that is related to an indictment. You can just come up with loose connections and just throw them in indictments, and that's sufficient for indictments according to Jack Smith, the special counsel, we all told is like this genius Terminator from The Hague. So now we've got Byron Donalds saying that we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're just getting started. And so hang tight, everybody, because more will be revealed.
Well, even as this information has been coming out, Oversight has been hard on the case, led by James Comer. We've been tracking this information down, trying to get it down. We've also been bringing people in and actually interviewing them under oath to get a full picture of what's actually occurred with Joe Biden and his son and his brother Jim. And let's not leave out Jim. I know he's not a crackhead, but Jim Biden's involved in this as well. We've been getting down to exactly what's going on, and we're going to present our case to the American people. We believe it's very compelling now, but we know how the press is and we know how the Democrats are. We want to make sure you have all the information so the American people can finally make their full decision on Joe Biden, which means, in my view, personally, he shouldn't be nowhere near the White House.
That's exactly right. Byron is the man. And yeah, we don't know actually that James is not a crackhead. I mean, that's just, I think that's speculation. We really don't know. He hasn't left his laptop anywhere. Maybe if we got James's laptop, maybe he's partying with Hunter. There might be a whole second hard drive there that nobody wants to see. So my friends, we got Now Comer going after 3 other 3-letter agencies, Merrick Garland, Daniel Werfel, Kimberly Cheadle, wanting to know all of their employees. And so the snowball rolls downhill. 1 IRS whistleblower turns into 2, 2 turns into 6, 6 turns into all the names that we have listed here. And so the House GOP is continuing on, and we're looking forward to continuing to cover it. And so thank you for subscribing wherever it is you're watching this as we carry on.